Well, the announcement finally happened, everyone. Assassin's Creed is officially coming holiday 2020, and it will be one of the first next-generation titles that comes to the Xbox Series X and the PS5. And if you remember, about a week ago, I made a video detailing what the game was going to be about and what setting it was going to be focused on. We talked about Vikings and even the rumored name Valhalla, which was actually pretty accurate. Now, of course, we went into all the rumored details and what we wanted from the game, but because I'm so hyped for this game, I wanted to tackle all the confirmed news about the game and go into detail about the gameplay, mechanics, production, and development of the game. There's a lot of information being talked about, and everyone's wondering what the game is going to be like when it finally releases. I'm extremely excited for the game, and some of the details being confirmed about it does make me extremely happy, because this finally does sound like a game that's going to take advantage of the next generation features on the Xbox Series X and PS5 respectively. And we've all been waiting to see what these new systems are capable of, and I think when we finally see the true gameplay on May 7th at the Xbox event, we will all be impressed with the grand scale the game is going to be taking. So let's dive into these features and go into detail about what I think the game will have and what's been confirmed by the developers. But before we do that, like always, if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, enough of that. Let's get into the gameplay mechanics and see what has changed in this amazing game franchise. The first topic I want to talk about has to be the combat and the open world that we will discover in the game. As we know, the last two Assassin's Creed games have been massive undertakings. They moved the Assassin's Creed games into the realm of RPGs. Origins dipped their toe into the RPG pool, and it was a great step in that direction. But Odyssey full-on dove into the waters and made the game one of the best RPGs I've ever played personally. But the biggest change has to be the combat in Assassin's Creed. The hidden blade, the swords, the hand-to-hand combat was always at the forefront of this franchise. And Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey made drastic changes to that with the type of combat they had. You used abilities and everything at your disposal to take out your enemies. Well, in Valhalla, it's looking like those drastic changes are going to be in the game, but with a new added Viking twist. Here's what's been confirmed about the combat. Combat has been altered in some form, with an emphasis on making every hit feel impactful. That includes giving players the ability to dismember and decapitate foes. Alright, I'm sorry, I have to stop right there, because to me this sounds amazing. Being able to dismember and decapitate enemies is one of the coolest things I've wanted in games for a very long time. Very few games are able to pull it off, and the ones that have didn't quite hit the mark with its execution. And if we pay attention to the trailer, dismemberment and the combat are front and center. It's very clear it's a feature they wanted to focus on and give us more information on. I think this will be a massive part of the game that really does give us a sense of immersion. And as for the combat feeling impactful, I'm all for this. Because after a while on Odyssey and Origins, I felt like the combat was super concise but didn't have the same impact or punch some games have had before. I'm glad they're taking a step back and making the game a little more brutal. I mean, we're talking about Vikings here. Let's make this game about brutal combat. But let's get back into the list of features. Here's what else they talked about. While Assassins have had two weapons at once before, two swords for example, Valhalla places a new emphasis on dual-wielding weaponry, with players allowed to mix and match the game's arsenal. Shields return as part of that arsenal after being absent from Odyssey. The Assassin's Blade returns as well. Throwing axes will be available in Valhalla as one of Ivor's many weapon options. Did they just say you can dual wield any weapon we want and any mix of weapons we want? Well, I don't know about you, but that's something that gets me extremely excited and probably sold me on the game even more. I love messing around with new weapon types and discovering new ways to play a game. Not to mention, I'll be the one guy dual wielding axes running around like a madman. But that's not all, you could even dual wield shields if you want. The game literally lets you play any way you want. If you want an axe and a sword to dual wield, you can do that, as we saw in the trailer. I love that type of customization, and of course there's shields in the game. Vikings were known for having some amazing shields with great artwork on it. But the cool thing is also the hidden blade is back, like we saw in the trailer. You throw in the ability to throw your weapon, and we truly have a crazy cool combat mechanic in the game. But what gets me more excited is the fact you'll fight different types of enemies throughout your entire playthrough. The developers have said they want you to be 20 hours or 25 hours into the game and still find new unique enemy types that will give you a challenge through your playthrough. To me, that's such a massive world to be a part of and brings such great immersion that I think the game is just going to go by so smoothly. Which brings me to the open world mechanic. Here's what's confirmed about the world. Valhalla is set in 9th century England during the Dark Ages. Valhalla's map will include Norway, which players can return to after the Vikings leave, and the 4 kingdoms of England: Wessex, Northumbria, East Anglia, Mercia. Major English cities included will be London, Winchester, and Jorvik. To me, the Viking setting is such a great place to expand the franchise because it does hit a lot of different civilizations and also opens up the game to some amazing, and I mean amazing, characters. Going to England in the Dark Ages is going to be one great way to shepherd in a new Assassin's Creed protagonist, especially since you can take your Viking longship and go exploring and take out settlements, get in massive battles, and basically expand your influence across the land, which the article says you'll be doing here. Players will traverse by sea via their Viking longship. Players can spot fortresses from the water and attack with their raiding party in massive raids. Large-scale land battles will also be a part of the story, though it's unclear if they'll function like Odyssey's army battles. RPG tappings introduced in Origins will return with new skills as well as new gear to collect. Open world activities include hunting, fishing, dice, and drinking games. The one thing that was a huge part of Odyssey was the ship battles and the sailing around. It looks like that will take a back seat in this game. Not the ship exploration part, but more of the ship-to-ship combat. And I expected that because the Vikings didn't really do naval battles. Instead, they used their ships to export easily and invade lands quickly. But with Valhalla, I feel they'll expand on the land part and bring more RPG elements into the game, like gear and skills trees, which is detailed here. You throw in open world hunting, fishing, dice, and drinking games, and you have a pretty expansive game. But what about the game's story? Let's see what details have been confirmed. It will follow Ivar, a Viking warrior who leads his people out of Norway and into England to settle. King Alfred of Wessex will be an opponent Ivar in the Vikings face. Alfred will be an antagonist, but narrative director Darby McDevitt said it would be wrong to call him the central antagonist of the game. Ivar will eventually run across some group of assassins in England, though at this time the Assassins and Templars are still being referred to as they were in AC Origins and Odyssey, the Hidden Ones and the Order of the Ancients, respectively. We see Ivar throughout the entire trailer. He's the main guy fighting and also leads the Vikings into battle. We also see King Alfred when he stamps a new decree in the trailer, presumably to combat the Viking invaders. Now I have to say, King Alfred is a very famous king and is one of the most revered kings in England's history. So I hope they don't position him as only a villain, but maybe someone that didn't know he was working for the Templars or being manipulated by them. I also love the fact they give nods to Origins with keeping the names of the factions tied to the history of the franchise. With the Hidden Ones and the Order of the Ancients, it's pretty awesome to see those games come together. Either way, this game looks intense. The setting, the story, the new gameplay mechanics all point to the biggest Assassin's Creed game ever made. And this is coming off Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is one of the biggest games that came out this last generation. And to show you just how massive this game is, let's talk about who's developing it. Ubisoft Montreal is the lead development studio on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Ashraf Ismail is directing the project. Ismail and his team previously worked on Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Origins. While all those details are amazing, that's not the biggest takeaway from this development team. What's the biggest takeaway is that Ubisoft has 14 studios working on this game. That's right, you heard me right, 14 studios. To give you some context, Assassin's Creed Odyssey had 10 studios working on the game, and they were able to make the biggest game in the franchise by a large margin. So no matter how you cut it, I'm going to be excited for this game. And I can't wait to get my hands on it with my new Xbox Series X when it releases holiday season 2020. And I think that this game is going to show us what these next-gen systems are all about, but also show us the direction Ubisoft wants to take some of their games. They're going to put a lot of development time in there, and they're going to give every studio that they have under their umbrella the time and money to make the best possible game. Let's hope Assassin's Creed Valhalla starts setting a trend for Assassin's Creed games to be these massive open-world games that we all love, but also respect the history that has come before. But enough about what I think about the game. Tell me what you think about the game. Which systems are you going to play the game on? Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 or even PC? What new mechanic do you look forward to? Does the Viking setting excite you? What type of assassin do you want to be? Are you excited for the gameplay reveal coming on the Xbox event? Do you think this will be the biggest Assassin's Creed game in franchise history? Are you happy that the Hidden Blade is back? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there. So let's get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing and let's compete in achievements for the month. Currently, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I put several hours into the game. I'm going through the Ezio collection and I love every minute of it. After that, I think I'm going to go into maybe Last of Us. I need to play that game before the second one releases, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Sony can bring out. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.